Hello everybody, I'm Maria and welcome back to my Nook. Today I'm going to be starting yet another reading vlog for you guys, but this time I think it's going to be just a weekend reading vlog. Today is Saturday and I'll probably film this vlog from like Saturday till Monday-ish, I'm thinking, because here come my TBR plans. I started a novella yesterday. It is called The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss, and it's a novella that kind of belongs in the Kingkiller Chronicle series. The first two books in that series are The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear, which I read this year as well. And now this novella follows a side character that we met in those two books. I'm already 29% into this novella, but it's only like 132-ish pages long, I think. So I think I should be able to finish it today, hopefully. So far, I find it incredibly interesting. The novella is about Ori, which again, we've already met in The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear, and I already thought she was a very interesting character in those two books. I felt like she wasn't exactly neurotypical, if I can put it that way, but I just thought she probably has a very particular way of looking at the world, and so far this novella has been confirming that point, in my opinion. I find it incredibly interesting to see how Ori lives, how she goes about her days, how she looks at the world and feels about the world, and I feel like she just has a very particular way or connection to the world, let's maybe put it that way. It's just very different to how I personally see the world and how most people in my circle see the world. So I find that very interesting to get a perspective like that. Like, for example, she has a very particular way of getting up and starting her day, and she lives in this underground area where there's a lot of different ways here and ways there and routes this way and routes that way, and she has a lot of different names for different rooms and hallways and all that, and she gives almost everything a name. And then there's the fact that the first day that we got to see her in this novella, she woke up and there was, I think, sunlight streaming into the place where she slept. And it's said that it made her think that today is a white day, a deep day, a finding day. And on the second day that we got to see her, it said that she woke up and she felt like it was a turning day, a doing day. And I just think that's a very interesting way of describing days, because I feel like usually when I would try to describe a day, I would go about it by using the weather or the climate. So for example, I would say like today's a sunny day or a rainy day or a gray day or it's a cold day or a warm day, you know, that sort of thing. Or I would go about it by taking my moods into regard, or the things that have happened on that day, like today's a good day, today was a bad day, or today was a lucky day, you know, that sort of thing. But she just has these different views of things, and she has these objects all around her room, and there's this teacup where it's said that that teacup was almost more eagerly waiting for him than Ari was. And that's also a very interesting way, in my opinion, to look at a teacup, to just think that a teacup is waiting for somebody because it belongs to that somebody, or because it's waiting to be used again for drinking tea out of it. And just, I don't know, I just find it very interesting and fascinating so far. There's also illustrations, which I love a lot, honestly, because I don't know, I just love them a lot. I'm very intrigued so far, and I'm very curious to continue reading about Ari's life, because we didn't really get to see any of that in the Kingkiller Chronicles series. But let's talk about my other reading plans for this weekend once I finished that novella, because if I hopefully manage to finish that novella today, I think tomorrow I will pick up Eroc's Ransom by John Flanagan, which is the 7th book in the Ranger's Apprentice series. And it makes sense that I'm reading this book at this point. So far, I have read the first 4 books in the main Ranger's Apprentice series, but the way the Ranger's Apprentice series is built up is that the first 4 books basically make up one story arc, and then I think book 5 and 6 make up one story arc. And as far as I know, John Flanagan decided later on that he had wanted to include another story that would take place before the events of book 5, and that is book 7. So like by publishing order, it's book 7, but it takes place between book 4 and book 5. So that's why I'm reading it now, between book 4 and book 5. And hopefully I will get to it in this reading vlog after I finished the novella. I honestly don't really know what it's going to be about, because I know I'll want to read it, so I didn't really look into it. But there's also 2 more things I want to talk about, actually just one thing, because I have acquired 2 new bookmarks and I really want to show them to you. First of all, I have acquired this bookmark. Look how lovely it is. And then there's the back, which looks like this, and there's this thingy on here. It's basically like the other one I have. I think you're supposed to like put the bookmark into a book and then put this band around the book. I'm probably not going to do that because I feel like it might damage the book, but it's still nice to have something hanging out of the book, you know. I always like that a lot. I love this bookmark a lot. And then I've also gotten this one right here. It says reading adds life to your years, and then there's this little owl sitting on those books, and it's got these golden, I don't even know what to call them, but there's these golden details on it, and this black, it's not really a tassel, but that sort of thingy. And I find that this kind of looks almost a bit fancy, so I really love this bookmark as well, and I can't wait to use these too. So yeah, I just wanted to show that to you because I've acquired them, and I wanted to share them because I was really excited about them. But anyway, this intro has been way too long already, so I'm going to get to reading now, and I think I'll probably update you again either once I'm done with the novella, or like tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning. Alright everybody, it's the next day. Today is Sunday, and I did actually manage to finish The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss yesterday, which honestly was a tiny bit of a struggle at times because I don't even know why, but it wasn't the easiest read. I feel like it was a bit slow at times, in my opinion, even though it was very beautifully written. But after having already read The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, I should have known that it was going to be slow and that he would have a lot to say that other authors might have been able to condense into less pages, if that makes any sense. But like, it's fine that he had that much to say. I still really enjoyed it, even though it was a bit slow at times. There wasn't really that much of a plot going on. It was really just the main character, Ari, who's a side character from the Kingkiller Chronicle series, like going about her day, doing things, doing routines or falling out of routines and dealing with that, and just us being shown what her daily life is like on a usual basis, I guess. So, as I've already mentioned, that opinion hasn't changed. It was very interesting, very fascinating, very intriguing, and also at times I even found it almost poetic somehow. Not even just because of what was being written or the way it was worded. That too was kind of poetic at some points. Like, I don't know, it was just the way it was written was different from the way that The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear were written, because it was from Ari's point of view. So I feel like that was very well conveyed. Is that the right word? Yes, it's the word I wanted to use. But also at some points I felt like my brain was reflexively falling into a sort of rhythm while reading, like the sort of rhythm you sometimes have with poems or lyrics, you know what I mean? So I don't know, it just felt like I was reading poetry at some points, even though I wasn't. I don't know, I think I liked it, but I feel like I had the same issue as with The Name of the Wind, where I would have given the book 4 stars, but because it was so slow and it could have been faster paced, I gave it only 3.5 stars. So I feel like that same thing might be happening with The Slow Regard of Silent Things. I haven't decided on a star rating yet, but yeah, that, even though like 3.5 stars is still not a bad rating, you know? So anyway, reading plans for today. I want to start Eroc's Ransom by John Flanagan, which is a bit thicker than the other Ranger's Apprentice books that I have read so far, I've noticed. I still don't really have an idea. I still don't have any idea what's going to happen in this book, not really. I've just heard that it's going to take place in the desert, I guess, or big parts of this book are going to take place in the desert. So I'll see what that's about. I might also update my reading journal today because it's already a few days into June, but I still haven't done my May spread because I was so incredibly uninspired in May, and I don't know, I just didn't know what to do with May. But now I have some ideas an idea. I have some thoughts. So I feel like I might want to try some of that out and see where it's going to lead me. I guess I might do that later. I also have to and want to edit another vlog I filmed, so that's also a plan for today. But yeah, I also want to get some reading in, and we'll probably talk again once I have an update on this book. Alright everybody, today is Monday, the last day of this reading vlog. I have an update for you about how much I read yesterday. I did not in fact end up journaling anything, but I did start Erak's Ransom. And I've read 68 pages yesterday, so I finished chapter 8. So far, this book has made me laugh out loud quite a few times already, and I'm really enjoying being back in this world with these characters. I feel like that's something I always say when I read another Ranger's Apprentice book, but like, that's just the truth, you know? It's also the truth with other book series, obviously, because I always enjoy being back with characters and in worlds that I enjoy. Although I have to say that I was confused for a while about how much time has passed between the end of Oakleaf Barrows, or the Battle for Scandia, and the start of Erak's Ransom, because there were some conflicting comments on that in the book that made me a bit confused, and I don't know, I was just confused about it, but I talked to people about it, and now I think there was a 3 to 4 year time gap-ish between Oakleaf Barrows and Erak's Ransom, which I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that. Somehow, when there's such time gaps between books or within stories, it always makes me feel a little odd, a little sad, a bit bittersweet almost, because I feel like I've missed so much time with these characters. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but like, I mean, we've already had 4 books about Will's journey. Will is the main character in the Ranger's Apprentice series. We've already had 4 books on his journey to becoming a ranger, but now the fact that there were like 3 to 4-ish years probably that we haven't seen him, and he might be a completely different person by now. I think he was like 17 or almost 17 at the end of Oakleaf Barrows, which means that now he's like 20, 21, my age. And I do feel like I was a completely different, not completely different, but I have changed since I was 17, you know what I mean? So I'm very interested to see what kind of person Will is by now, how his training has progressed and all that. And like the events in this book so far. There was a wedding going on, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it's literally mentioned in chapter 2. I'm not going to say whose wedding because that would be a spoiler, but like, I did not see that coming. Like, a wedding was probably one of the very last things that I expected to happen in this book, okay? So when I told you that I have no idea what's going to happen in this book, I was not lying. I was not lying. We have gotten to the part where the plot, like the main plot, is starting. Somebody got captured and the Araluans, including the Rangers and Will obviously, have to try and help them. I suppose, which they're making a plan for right now. Like, that was exactly where I stopped reading last night when they were trying to make a plan to help that person and save that person. That's how much I read so far. I've been enjoying it so far, even though I was a little confused, but I think that's solved now. So I'm happy to jump back into this book. I might journal today, I might not. We'll see, honestly. But in any event, I will definitely talk to you another time tonight, so I can give you some final thoughts and update you one last time and everything. Hello everybody, I'm here to give you one last reading update for this vlog and then a quick overview about what I read in this vlog, and then I'll let you go. So I am now on page 116 in Iraq's Ransom, which means I just finished chapter 14, and I believe I'm a little more than 1/4 into the book by now. So by now we have been told how much time has passed since the end of the 4th book. At least I think we have been told, because there was one comment that definitely cleared it up a bit more, in my opinion. I mean, it still might be off by like a few months maybe, but it definitely puts a clearer idea into my head, you know? And now they, aka Will and his companions, let's just call them that. I don't know if I can mention them all because that might be spoilery, but they have now embarked on the journey that will probably be the main journey of this book, which is starting on a boat. And that I am not incredibly happy about. I'm just, actually, it's fine. It seems like it's not going to be taking too long. Like, so far it's been, I don't know, maybe 3 chapters or something, and I feel like it's almost over already. So I think it's gonna be fine. It's just that in book 3, a big part of that book was happening on a boat. At least like in my head, the way I remember it, a proportionally large part of the book was taking place on a boat, and I was not enjoying that because I have no idea about boats. I'm not particularly interested in boats, so all that talk about boats, like all those words and terms and those actions happening on a boat, they just, like, nothing up here, nothing. And half of the time I'm just confused about what's going on that boat, you know? And I just don't have any images in my head. I can't picture what's going on. When they said they were going to travel by boat, I was like, oh god, not this again, please no. But it seems like it's almost over already, and it really went by so fast. So I'm very grateful for that. And other than that, I'm also really enjoying seeing Will at the point that he's currently at in life. I don't think I can say much more about it without spoiling anything, but yeah, I'm really enjoying that. So I am definitely looking forward to continuing this book. And now to give you a quick recap of what I read in this reading vlog. I started out with finishing The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. So I read, I think it was like 96 pages in that book, give or take, because it was illustrated, so some of the pages were just the illustrations, but like about 96 pages. And now I have read the first 116 pages of Irak's Ransom, which makes 212 pages in the span of the last 3 days, which honestly I'm quite proud of. Like, that's a good amount of reading I did there, and I was having a good time. I really hope you guys had a good time watching this vlog as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you have read any of the books I read in this vlog, please do let me know down in the comments, and if not, just tell me what you're currently reading or how you're doing or whatever you want to tell me. And other than that, I will see you guys somewhere else on the internet. Bye!